And welcome everybody. We'll see if anybody's joining us tonight. Looking for a background image. I have a bunch of them in here, but looking for a good one. So we're going to talk about drones this evening. Talk about radios if people show up and want to chat about them. There we go. We can talk about other things relating to flying drones around. There we go. Got a bunch of different DJI stuff on the screen. We'll be talking about the DJI situation and whether or not you should be concerned about that. Let's see. These are video clips. I'm going to try to put some video clips up here and see if it'll let me. I'll pull this one down. That'll give me some more room. So until then, we'll play.
Introducing Gear Websites, your all-in-one solution designed to make life easier. Whether you're a busy professional, a student juggling multiple tasks, or just someone seeking simplicity in daily life, Gear Websites has you covered. With its user-friendly interface, you can effortlessly create and manage your online presence without any technical expertise. Need to improve your gear, start a blog, or even learn a new skill? Gear Websites does it all. Enjoy seamless integration with various tools, ensuring that you can connect with your audience and manage your content efficiently. Plus, our responsive design means your website will look stunning on any device. Don't let complexity slow you down. Experience the ease of Gear Websites today. Visit us at gearwebsites.com and take the first step towards simplifying your online journey. Gear Websites, making life easier, one click at a time.
All right, let's see what this happens. There we go. All right, so we'll see if anybody joins us tonight live, but otherwise we'll chat about some of these things that are going on out there, like say the DJI thing. So I'm thinking right now about a new drone. They have a couple of them at DJI that I'm still thinking about. I'm really enjoying the Neo. So I went on to Amazon to look at if the Neos are still available with all this concern that people are having. I wanted to see if they're still available, and they are. And they're basically the same price as the one I bought, about a little under 300, probably 300 with tax and everything for the Fly More combo. And that's the one that's on the screen here that has the kind of the lighter color, and it has the 4 props. And it really is fun to fly. However, it's tiny, which is nice for carrying it around, but it's underpowered. So that Vita 2 behind it is more like $1,000 drone, and I'm still learning to fly it. I really would like to be able to fly it with regular controls. I need to find out if I can do that already, because I'm not having much luck learning the weird joystick control, which is kind of in the middle of the screen there towards the bottom. That it really just looks like a joystick, and it just is, just hold it in free space, and it knows if it's up or down, and that's how you fly the thing. And it was neat to kind of play with it, but I am not enjoying it. So as I was looking around, I think the controller that I have is called the RC, I think, because it has a screen on it, and that came with my 3 Pro. And it turns out I probably should have spent a little bit more money on that 3 Pro than I did at the time. I was buying what I could, and that was my first real drone. So, I had to start somewhere. I probably should have started a little bit more, because that controller doesn't work with all my other drones. So now I'm looking at getting a newer controller, and that's where I was looking at, what's it called? This other one. They have a third drone that has, I guess they have 4 drones that have the props enclosed, and you need enclosed props to go over people. I don't know about the weight of them though, but anyway, they make a smaller one. I forget what it's called. that's kind of between these two. Better camera, bigger props. So I'm hoping more power. But the thing is like $1,000, $700. So it's not just a no problem type of decision. That's a lot of money. So then I'm looking around, and there's another company out there that makes drones now that is kind of the big brother to my first drone, the Maverick, or wait, is it the Maverick? It's the Air 4 or Pro 4 or something like that. So I've been thinking about buying one of those as well. So I'm still definitely thinking about buying a new one. I don't need a new one, but I am looking for something that I can get into the air quickly, that has covered props, and that has a decent camera. Reason I wanted to get into drones was to do real estate filming. So those are some of the things I'm looking for, is a decent camera and powerful enough engines to get up there. I guess they're not engines, powerful enough motors to get up there. It doesn't have to be 400 feet or anything. 100 feet is usually plenty, just to get a, an image from up in the air, elevated image, and then get back down so I can keep getting on with things. So, like I say, I'm still kind of looking for the perfect drone there. Now, if I can get the Avita, which doesn't fold or anything, but it is a pretty solid drone, if I can figure out a way to fly that, like if I learn to fly that better, then I'm pretty much done. That could do what I need. But I don't know if I'd want to put on the goggles all the time. So again, if I need to find out, I guess I could look right now since nobody's saying anything. Feel free to be part of the show. Let's see. So if we get to fly with the regular DJI controller. No, a regular DJI controller like the RC N1 or the RC cannot fly the Avita 2. It's an FPV that requires a specific remote, either the Motion series or the DJI FPV remote controller series, like the FPV remote controller 3. So I need to find out what that is. I think I have the Motion 3. Oh, well, it's just a stupid remote control. Dang it, but it's a $200 remote control. But you still have to use the goggles, I guess. So, lame. So I guess they support the low latency transmission needed for the immersive flight, and they work with the FPV goggles. So that's telling me what I need to know, but it's not what I wanted to hear. So again, that Avata 2, not necessarily what I'm looking for. The FPV only is not what I'm looking for yet. Now, if I want to start flying through homes and stuff, I'm pretty sure that's exactly what I need. Right now, I'm only flying it in its like beginner mode or whatever, like a severely throttled beginner mode. And I really like it. It's actually really fun to fly around, like really throttled. I don't have to worry about hitting anything. It goes really slow. It's kind of exactly what I want for doing real estate for video. So, I'll obviously I'll continue to work with it. But in the meantime, let me go look at what the other one is called here. Maybe I still have it in probably have it in my Amazon history, I would imagine. So nobody's really saying anything. So people are jumping in and out, but having a conversation about drones here. It's a little bit timely because of the confusion and the concern about what's going on with the DJIs right now. But we'll see if we can get somebody to come in. And I put some links out in our Discord. So if you're one of the folks that is part of our Discord, you can jump in. Or if you're out there and you have an opinion, feel free to be part of the show. All right, so the Sky Rover is one that the Sky Rover X1 is one that I'm looking at. But it's an $898 drone. Did it just go up in price? Maybe it was on sale and it came off of sale or something. So the one I've been looking at is this one. Oops, I got to put it over here and open a new window. I'm losing everything that I drove in here for. So, all right, so we're going to open this one back up. And I guess it's called the Flip. So the Flip, which has the enclosed blades or enclosed rotors, and looks like it has a better gimbal as well. So I'm assuming it has a better camera. It also comes with that, they call it the RC2, which is a remote control with screen on it, like I have, but it has little antennas, and that I think will work with my Neo, and that would be really handy. And then, because I really enjoyed driving that Neo around. So if this thing's like a Neo on steroids, that's what I'd be looking for. And if it's a better camera than the Neo, that's even better. But it isn't much bigger physically than the Neo, so I think it might just be older than the Neo. I'd have to do some comparisons to find out. I guess I could do that while we're live here if nobody's going to say anything. But that's what I'm looking at. It would be between the Neo and the Avanta. But again, $779 for the Fly More combo. That comes with that RC2 controller and 3 batteries. But the battery case thing, like the thing you put the batteries in, only holds 2 of them. So that's annoying. All my other Fly More combos came with a battery holder that charges all 3 at the same time, which is mostly what I do. Because I usually fly or I'm not flying. And when I'm not flying, it's easy enough to put all the batteries. Let's see, compare the DJI Flip with the Neo. I'm asking the robot to do that, and it's saying the DJI Flip and the Neo are both beginner drones, but the Flip is a higher end option with a better camera, longer flight time, and superior obstacle avoidance, while the Neo is a more compact, affordable, and versatile drone that can be used for FPV flying. The Flip's main advantage is it has a 48 megapixel camera with a larger sensor, can do 4K with 60 FPS, which is pretty good frame rate. It has a 3-axle gimbal with stabilization and 31 minutes of flight time. I like everything about that. Well, actually, here's a picture of them together, and the Flip is quite a bit larger than the Neo. Yeah, I'm really liking the look of this Flip now. It says its strengths or its portability. Is it still under, or no, it says the Neo's strengths or it's under 250 grams. It's lower price and the ability to be used for FPV. And that is nice. I mean, I really enjoy the Neo. It is such a fun little drone. And flying FPV is like icing on the cake. And you can go kind of fast when you're flying FPV. It's just super fun. Flight time on the Neo is 17 minutes. And I'll tell you, 17 minutes seems like forever when you're flying. So 31 minutes of flight time on the Flip definitely sounds interesting. Obstacle avoidance could be handy. It's over 200 and, or wait, the Flip is under 250 grams. That's good to hear. So that means I could potentially use the Flip for what, category 1, I think, which is fine over people if they're cool with it. And then let's see, micro SD card. That's nice. The other one, the Neo, just has the internal 22 gigs. It's definitely more expensive. So this is somebody who's comparing the two and comparing the video side by side. And the Flip definitely has some nicer video. Yeah, the mechanical gimbal and everything is nice too. So like I say, I really think I'll end up probably getting the Neo. So now it's looking like it's a competition between the Neo and the Sky Rover. So now I'm going to compare the DJI Flip with the, just grab it from over here, the Sky Rover X1 One of the things I do like about the Sky Rover is it kind of looks like a DJI, but it's black and yellow instead of like whatever the beige Macintosh color that the DJIs are. I mean, I don't mind 1980s computer color. It's cool looking. But a yellow drone sounds way cooler when the batteries are yellow and stuff. So it says the DJI Flip are different types of drones. The Flip is a more traditional, versatile drone with obstacle sensors, a gimbal, and a remote control, while the Sky Rover is a compact, remote-free selfie drone focused on simple operation and portability. Ooh, really? I don't know if that's the case. Depends on the Flip for traditional flying, high quality cinematic, and the Sky Rover for effortless on the go shots. So I'm going to say compare the Neo Sky Rover X1 with DJI. So it's saying the Neo. Oh, why did I put Neo in there? I don't need Neo. So compared to the Sky Rover is a lightweight mini drone with 4K camera, often compared to the DJI Mini 4 Pro. Due to its similar design and features, reviewers note that while the X1 offers comparable performance, DJIs generally provide more polish, reliability, and better video transmission. So it looks like it's still under 249 grams. It's going to have a 1.32 CMOS, which is really close to the 4 Pro. Can do 8K photos, which the Pro can only do 4K. Or no, I don't know what the 4 can do. It's got that 3-axis gimbal with heavy reliance on electronic image stabilization. Well, that's interesting. Omnidirectional visual perception, 360-degree sensing. It uses SkyBridge as its transmission instead of OcuSync, which has a 15-kilometer range. Big deal. Let's see. It has a 32-minute flight time, which is about the same. It says thinner propellers, lighter plastics. So it has a less sturdy build, according to this comparison. It can do waypoint missions, smart AI tracking, and AI night vision. I'm interested in what that is. Limited track record and long-term support. It has uncertainty. All right, so now let's compare that one with, how do I go back? What's going on? Compare that with the DJI Mini 3 Pro, which is what the one I'm working with. All right, it's thinking, it's looking. We're not getting any feedback here, but we're talking about the DJI drones, and right now I'm comparing the Sky Rover X1 with my DJI Mini 3 Pro. So it looks like the Sky Rover's, of course, new, and the DJI 3 Pro is from 2022. They're both under 249 grams. Looks like my camera is the 1.5 inch 48 megapixels, so it's actually going to be pretty close. And mine can do portrait shooting, which it can too. I have tri-directional obstacle sensing front and back and down, and an autonomous avoidance. I didn't even know I had that. I'm using the oscular transmission or something with a 12-kilometer range. Considered very reliable. It has been very reliable. All right. Oh, I have hyperlapse? What? I have to figure out how to do hyperlapse. You might not be able to hear it. It might not be obvious in the video or in the audio here, but my dog is snorting. You want to stop it? We're on a podcast. We're on a podcast. Stop it. Stop it. All right, he stopped it. All right, he's done. He said he's done now. He said he's done. All right, I thought you said you're done. You finished? I'll threaten you. I'm going to threaten you now. You're going to get a whooping. Now you're going to get a whooping if you don't stop it. You're ruining the podcast. We're going to start the podcast over here in a minute. It's not really a lawnmower that I'm trying to start. It's my dog just breathing. Let's see. Long-standing reputation for reliable performance, wide range of compatible accessories. Well, I should probably get some filters for it, huh? And different controller options in the Flymore kit. All right. So, looks like maybe I wouldn't even be considering the Sky Rover because it's very similar to the one I have. So, it's a little bit different than the 4, but my 4 must not be very different than my 3. Or the 4 must not be very different than my 3. I haven't really had a chance to chat with anybody about the nuances of the various DJIs. So I'm going to ask the robots here to compare the Mini 4 Pro with the Mini 3 Pro. See what the big difference is. The snort pups as loud. Snort pup snorts as loudly as you do. I'll put him down here in a minute. He was bugging me to get up here, and then he's just started being a jerk. I'm going to punch him a bunch of times. Let me punch him a bunch of times in the stomach. It sounds like kissies, but it's really punches. I think he's all right. Are you stopping? Or are you going to keep doing it? Okay, you're going back down. Now you're going back down. You're going to refuse to stop snorting. All right, it says the 4 Pro is superior to the 3 Pro due to its omnidirectional avoidance obstacle sensing, which I don't care about. Improved camera capabilities, which I do care about. Slow motion. Dang it, I wish I had that. Longer transmission range. I don't really care about that. And advanced intelligent flight modes like Active Track 360. That would be interesting. Got more people joining us. Welcome. G23's out there. Good metal. Welcome. So we're talking about the DJI band, and we talk about radios, talk about other tech stuff while we're at it. I've been comparing the next drone I'm going to get, whether or not it's worth getting a drone. I've been watching some videos. Obviously, there's people that are always going to hype up the news or whatever. And we don't know, there's some uncertainty, so we don't know what's going on with the DJI. But I've definitely been impressed with the DJIs. I can't even tell you how many drones I own. I just put them into a giant duffel bag the other day. So there's at least, let's say 5, 6, 7 of the little cheap ones. And then maybe 2 or 3 Hollystones, which are $300 ones. Pink gave me that EXO, my first drone. It really was a good one. May or may not have smashed that into a sign. And then I think I had another one, that Scout. So the 2 from EXO, I guess. A couple of really nice Hollystones that are like $300 drones. And then just a ton of little toy ones. Like say maybe 10 of those little toy ones. And then really toys, like actual toys. We're going to rule toys out. Those are just toys. They're fun to play with inside, and they're really not going to teach you how to fly a drone at all because they're so difficult to fly. But the nice ones are toys compared to DJI. So once I got that first DJI, I knew I wasn't going to bother with the other ones anymore. I did get another Hollystone, but that's for doing reviews and stuff. As far as like actually flying them, the DJIs are better quality. They are just better machines. And the tech behind them is just leaps and bounds. Like their stabilization, both while they fly and then the video is just not even in the same ballpark. So what they do is what you think you'd expect a drone to be able to do. Like when you watch a movie, most of the movies are probably built on DJI or filmed on DJIs or something of that quality. Or I should say something of that quality, which would cost a lot more. Or, they're just fake and they're acting like they're DJIs. But anyway, so I would say the DJIs have won me over for sure. And now it's just frustrating to know that basically some political / market forces are messing with the whole thing. So right now they're in danger. If you're not familiar, the company, along with some other companies, but I think DJI specifically, since we're talking about that, needed to have some sort of I think it's called an audit done on their. I don't know if it's on the models or if it's on their company or something, but they needed some sort of scrutiny done in order to pass some kind of a qualifier with the FCC. And since the government would have had to do that audit or that inquiry or that investigation, and they decided not to because there is no inquiry or audit results, they can or they will say that you can't use DJIs anymore. And that really just means that new DJIs won't come into the country, but people are misunderstanding or intentionally misunderstanding that and saying whatever they want about that. So we're dealing with that right now. But what we're really dealing with is the big question is assuming everything goes through the way it's looking like it's going to, and they're going to say from now on DJIs can't come into the country. Do you still buy the DJIs that are here, or do you, I guess, decide since there's no future for them, leave them be, let somebody else buy them and go do something else? So we'll go into that. If you're going to do something else, you're going backwards in time. So it's like saying, I don't want a car from the 2025. I'm going to get a different car, and you're going to get a car from the 1980s. Like, these are night and day different. The other ones say they have all the features, but they are just clunky. They don't fly as well. They're always constantly moving up there. They don't just stay put, really. And they're fragile. They break all the time. Literally, they break. And then when you're all done, it just doesn't look as nice. The videos don't look as nice. But so the big question is, do you invest in them? So I don't think there's a need to rush to the purchase of them, mainly because I don't want people to buy them all, so I have to pay more. But I just don't think that's necessary yet. There's probably a ton of them in the country from people anticipating a lack of supply, so I don't think they're going anywhere right away. It might be something that at Christmas time people are, jump on them because the deadline will be just before Christmas, so it'll potentially be something that gets some heat, depending on what people think and how these videos go that people are making. But as you can imagine, there's people out there exploiting this or just interpreting it however they want to say whatever they want. We all get a cut when you buy something like this, if you use our links and that. So there's a reason for people to want to get you to go buy them. That being said, like I say, I've invested in quite a number of them at this point, and I plan on using them. Like, I'm using them now, and I plan on using them in the future. Like I say, for mostly real estate stuff, I think. But if I can find other reasons or other ways to use them, I certainly will. Like, the cameras are nice on them. You're basically just shoving a digital camera up in the air, and think of all the different ways that could be useful or practical, or that you could charge money to do that for different industries and things. So I'm looking at some ways to do that, and a DJI is the type of drone that allows you to do it without paying attention to the machinery or the camera. It just allows you to worry about where you're going to fly and then what you're going to do with the video when you're done. At least, knocking on wood here, very rarely have I had issues with the footage coming out poorly. And if I do, it's because I'm staring at a sunset or something where I don't know how to work the camera yet. And it washes out or it gets dark or something. And that's just me having to learn where to point the camera, basically, where to put the camera. Let's see, fear mongering. Yeah, exactly. But that happens all the time. We're used to that, right? So Gunmetal Guy saying I need a drone myself. I don't know. I think, at this point, I would say everyone needs a drone. They're practical. They're useful. Do you need a $300 one? Probably not. Do you even need a $200 one? No, not necessarily. Do you need one that's $50? Yeah, somewhere in there, 50, 100, just so that you can see what it's like to get something like a camera up in the air, shooting video that comes down, beams down to your phone and allows you to have a camera way up above you. If it's just looking at your roof, like something falls on your roof and you tree limb or something, depending on how your house is, that could be a dangerous situation to go up there and to look at something on your roof, where a drone can do that for you. I think to do that, you technically need to have a license. So this is, take it for what it's worth. It's not that hard to get a license. But again, you're allowed to, I think you're allowed to look at your own roof. But there are some weird rules about it. But anyway, being able to do stuff like that, being able to see what's going on in the neighborhood, assuming you don't live right next to an airport like some of us, assuming you don't live right next to some kind of a restricted airspace, often just having that ability to get a camera up in the air, even 100 feet. Drone can fly to 400 feet, and all things, good conditions, it can go to 400 feet legally. And that's a lot. Like, that's very high. I'm out here where there's mountains and stuff. You get to 400 feet and you can really see some distance. You really get some perspective on the terrain and everything. So it might not seem like a lot when airplanes go a lot higher, but think about when you're in an airplane and how little everything looks. So 400 feet is actually a pretty good spot. Actually, I was going to say more like 120, 200 feet. I rarely go over 200 feet, only because things start to get too small once you get up there. They have kind of a fisheye lens. So that sweet spot is usually about 100 feet. 60 to 70 to 100 feet is just, where our eyes understand that perspective. When you get a little bit higher, it's like we're looking down from a mountain or a 3-story building. It's a little bit different. Anyway, so having that ability, I think, is useful. Is it necessary? I'm going to put it on like third layer of necessity. Like, you got basics, food and water and things like that. Then you've got like, let's make the hard times comfortable. That might be your level 2. But then let's have the advantage over somebody else. Like, let's have the advantage that we wouldn't have had without this stuff. That's the level 3 stuff. Stuff you might not be carrying around, but it's nice to have if you're at home. And that's where I'd put that drone. It's a neat thing to be able to have, and it's a super useful thing to be able to have. That being said, it's just a fun thing to be able to have, having to be able to throw a camera around. I personally just enjoy flying them. They're way more fun to fly than any kind of remote control thing I've ever had. Airplanes and gliders and fake helicopter things on a string. Like, I've had a lot of different things that let you fly something as a kid or a toy. And the drones can fly in 3 dimensions. The good ones in a DJI can stay put. That's the best part, is you let go of the controls on a DJI and the drone stays wherever it is. After it runs, gets close to running out of batteries, it'll just come home. So as long as you've given it a route to get home, you can't really mess up a DJI very easily. Some of the worst ones, if you let go of the controls, they just drift. They kind of go to the left or up or down or some direction. They either have issues or it's tough to make them, that's called trim, trying to get them to balance so that they don't drift or whatever. So worst case scenario on some of the cheap ones, you let go of the controls and quit paying attention to it, and it falls into a tree or backs up into a building or something. So that's the annoying part, but a decent one will just stay put, and that part is super fun. But then just flying it around, like I say, just being able to move around. I had so much fun the other day. I took it to imagine a park, and I went down this park where you have a bunch of different parking areas. I went down in an area next to some tennis courts or baseball fields, something. Drove down a parking lot that nobody was in, like one of the legs of the parking lot that nobody was in. At the end of it was like a big turnaround. It's like a fire truck or something could turn around at the end. So that big circular area, there was just blacktop and nobody was in. I was just standing in the middle of it and flying my drone around trying to learn how to do the FPV. And then there was a stop sign or something, like a sign that said stop, I think. But imagine a stop sign just kind of in the middle of a parking lot. And I was able to, just fly all around that and look at it from different directions and stuff. And I'm trying to learn how to get the camera lined up and all that, sure. But just flying it was super fun. Like, it's just the most fun remote control thing ever. Remote control cars come in probably second. Remote control boats are really close. Like, those are fun. But the problem with remote control boats is if you don't have a lake, then they're useless, right? And then every once in a while you get a remote control boat stuck out in the middle of the lake, and that sucks. Remote control cars are fun, but they're also not that fun. Like, they're okay. Like, that one I have now is super fun, but it's the singular one. All the rest of them have been toys, and they're not that great. And to get a good one, that was a $200 remote control car. So $200 into a drone, you're getting a DJI already. So you can get a decent drone for the price of a decent remote control car. And that's why I'm thinking anybody who's even thinking about it, like, yeah, grab one. So now let's talk about which one to get. This one on the screen here, that DJI, I should say that Neo, the light colored one with the enclosed props, kind of right next to my logo there, lower left of the screen. That's the cheapest one, and it's the most fun. I drag it with me all the time now, and I use it all the time. The one above it, that is the, what is that, Avanta 2, and it's a bigger brother to it, sort of, and it's super expensive. That's almost $1,000, and you have to wear those goggles. That's the problem. The little one, you don't need anything. You don't even need a remote control. It'll just look at your hand controls, stuff like that. But you can use a remote control with it, or you can use the goggles. So the little one is the most fun because it can do any of the remote controls or none of them. Then you get to the ones like the one on the right there that unfold and look like a standard quadcopter, what we all think of today. And those are, like I say, I really can't tell you how much fun that thing is. That's the one that has all the power. It has a decent camera. I think I paid $700 for that one, and it came with that controller with the screen on it. Like I say, I probably should have bought the 4 instead of the 3. So I probably should have spent like $1,000 instead of $700, and I would have got a notch better camera, a little bit bigger motors, I think, but then mainly the bigger controller, and that would have been nicer. But didn't know that at the time. Still enjoying that one a lot. That's the one I fly most. It's the first one I bought, but it has exposed blades, so you can't fly it over people, and I mean, you can, but you get in trouble. And I think it's also too heavy. I think it's kind of too big to use for most of the stuff I want to use it for. It's fun to play around with, and it's not big by any means. It's a tiny drone. Actually, it is under 250, I think. But so as even the DJIs are concerned, it's one of the smaller ones. But of mine, it's one of my largest ones. DJ saying, can you pull drone flight patterns on radar air trafficking sites like Flight Trader 24? Huh? I don't know. So they're saying, I guess you're saying that there's websites that show you I got links in the Discord if anybody wants to jump in here. I guess you're saying that there's websites that follow airplanes on the radar. I don't think they would follow drones because, well, I'm sure drones don't show up on radar. Drones have a remote ID on them, but I don't think there's anything that follows that and has, there would have to be a radar station to hear it. So it might be, the drones might be transmitting, but they're transmitting on tiny little radios, right, that only go so far, and there's really nothing out there listening. So as of right now, that isn't a thing. In the future, could somebody decide, hey, let's make all cell phones listen to where drones are? That could happen. I am looking for my links, and I think I finally found them. And if I type in here groups, and then I go to drones, why would you put them in alphabetical order? Why would anybody want to do that? I can't believe these things aren't in alphabetical order. I'm literally going through every single category I got looking for drones. And you're telling me I don't got them in here? Come on. Can you hear that dude sleeping over there? He's like snoring now. Weird. All right, finally found it. Oh, come on. Seriously? All right, I obviously don't know how to work my own website stuff here. So can I see the links? Thingy jerks. I guess I have to go to links and then type in drones. That makes more sense. It was way easier to do it this way. Anyway, so, well, I will eventually get the link here. Here we go. Oh, you can hear the puppy snoring? Okay, thanks. I will punch him. I'll kick him. Let's see. DJI. Now, when I... Oh, wait, this is the wrong one. Neo 3 battery combo. So when I buy these things, I've mentioned this before. I mean, this is from my days of working with tools and stuff. I always buy the 3 battery combos. Every once in a while, you're only going to fly a little bit and you only need 1 battery. But, every once in a while, that is not the case. And you definitely, all right, what's going on here? Copy link. There we go. Every once in a while, you definitely want to fly around a while. And that's where you really wish you had those extra batteries. So you can buy a battery for sure. And you can buy a drone with 1 battery and then buy an extra battery. But what you get when you buy the 3 at one time right away is you get the little, how do you call it? Like the little harness thing or whatever that they all plug into. And then it just makes it way faster. You don't have to worry about plugging in each battery. You can go to sleep and it'll charge them sequentially, like 1 at a time. So I always get what they call the Fly More combos with DJIs. So almost always with DJI, you can buy just the drone, which is probably a good thing because if you already have all the stuff and you wreck your drone, or you just decide I want a second one, then that would be the whole point. Like, why would I need the remote control and more batteries? Like, I just want another drone. So I like that they sell just the drones. And then they sell just the remote controls. And that's good too, for same thing. If for some reason you want to switch out remote controls or whatever. But then you can buy the kits where you get the remote, you get the thing and, the robot and the remote control, which is handy, especially if you're starting out. And then, like I say, in addition, they'll have this other combo where you get the robot, the controller, and 3 batteries so that you can fly more. And like I said, that's the ones I started with, and every one I've bought has been I can't say that. Almost every one I've bought has been a Fly More combo, and I've never looked back. I've never regretted it. When you do get out there, I think my longest one is my first one, and I think it'll fly like 30 minutes on a battery. And this is, best conditions. If it's windy, you're fighting the wind, it's going to, fly less time. But 30 minutes flying seems like forever. It doesn't sound like it seems like forever, but you're really paying you're paying a lot of attention to this. So when you have that much attention focused for 30 minutes, like that seems like forever. So I have going out camping or whatever, I've emptied a battery before, and by the time I'm done emptying a battery, like I'm done flying. Like I have to kind of, recollect my thoughts and stuff because, I've learned so much on that flight. You're just doing so much unless I guess if you were out next to the ocean or something, you flew like 20 minutes away and flew 20 minutes back or something, like that might be a little bit different. But for me, I'm flying around a tree, I'm flying up and down. I was in a canyon one time flying up and down and trying to like see different caves and stuff. So one time I was flying over a river in a canyon and like flying over the river and then kind of coming up and trying different, you're trying to basically move your camera around. Or sometimes I'm just moving the drone around a tree or something. So anyway, by the time you're flying for half an hour, like you're worn out, like that's a lot. So then, you take it, bring it down, you let the thing cool off or whatever, because no matter how many batteries you have, you still only have the one set of motors, right? So you're letting that thing calm down or whatever, and you put the next battery in, you start to fly a little bit, and you can get that first one charging. So that first one's already going to start charging while you're flying that second one. And unless I haven't experienced a time where I'm flying so fast and so much that, I've drained all 3 batteries, but I have flown to where I've used all 3 batteries, and that first one is almost recharged by the time you do that. Especially driving around or I think in South Dakota, when I was flying around by those different statues and stuff, it would be fly around for a little while, and it was windy, so fly around and really use the motors for a little bit, but then plug everything in and drive to the next location, unplug everything and fly for a little bit, plug everything back in. But the batteries are charging that whole time, like they're not getting unplugged. So anyway, it does work out really well having a Fly More combo if you think you're going to fly a lot, because it adds $100 usually. It's like buying all the batteries with a little bit of a discount. I think they give you a little bit of a cut when you buy the 3 right away. So I'm also cheap, and I know I'm going to eventually want more batteries. Every tool I've ever bought, every camera I've ever bought, anything that uses batteries, I've always wanted more batteries. So I figure in the long run, I'm going to save a little bit by buying them all at once. So that's my pitch on the the buy more or the fly more combos. Sometimes they come with a little bag, and that's probably because you're already getting all that other stuff, and they figure the first bag you would have gotten isn't going to have room for those batteries. So that's why they give you a new bag. And I'm going to knock on wood, but I've gotten two, and I think I've gotten them from DJI. So DJI made the bags, but the 3 Pro, the one on the right there with the screen that has, or with the remote control that has a screen, and that one came with the remote control with the screen, with the robot that folds up, and the 3 set of batteries in a little case, and that case is really nice. The Avanta came with the headset, the little remote control, looks like a joystick, the drone, and a set of 3 batteries. So 4 things, and they go into a bag that looks kind of like the same bag, but scaled up. And again, it's just a really well-made bag. So I'm really impressed with the bag that comes with the DJIs when you buy the Fly More combos. But I've only bought the 2. Well, I bought another one that has a Fly More combo, but it didn't come with a bag. So I can't say that all the Fly More combos come with a bag. If they do, though, and it's from DJI, I'm going to probably say it's going to be something you're going to be satisfied with. Like, it's worth getting. Other things I bought in the past where you get a free bag, it's a free bag and you get what you pay for. Let's see. So now, if money's no object, that Avana 2, the bigger one in the back, the gray one, comes with the goggles and the joystick and the batteries right away, like I say. And I think I paid $11, so that brought it up to $1,400. So it was not cheap, but I'm hoping a couple of houses, going through a mansion or some kind of thing, maybe hopefully trade some B&B time or something, like stay at a place and film it with the drone or something and get something, or maybe even trade for free rent, something like that. I'm hoping that it eventually pays off, but depending on what you're doing with it, if you're buying it for business or if you're buying it for recreation, that's a big one. $1,200 is kind of a lot, or $1,400 is kind of a lot for a toy, for sure. Everybody's different, though. The big thing on that one is you have to wear the goggles, and because I think I just looked it up, you can't just get a screen for that one, and that means you're using that little remote control thingy. At least as far as I can tell, you're using that little remote control thing. So that's kind of a big, for me at least. I haven't mastered it. I haven't even figured it out really. So for me, it's a tough one to recommend. I kind of stumbled into it and kind of talked myself into it. I probably could have not done that. But anyway, the other one, the 3 Pro, probably if you would have asked me before I bought these ones with the enclosed propellers, I would have said that's all you need. But now that I have that Neo, it's really hard for me to not recommend the Neo first. Like, I would say almost any drone you buy, you're going to want a Neo also. So I would just say buy a Neo. Like, that's the one I have on the link here. That's the little guy. That's $200, $300 if you buy it with 3 batteries right away. And you don't need a remote control. If you do want a remote control, you can just use your phone. And that's what I do all the time, is just use the app on my phone, and it'll connect with Bluetooth and with the Wi-Fi to the remote, to the drone, and then it'll let you fly, and you'll see what it's seeing, and it's pretty much everything you're going to want. So anyway, that's the long answers to those questions. Now, as far as buying it before anything goes on with laws or whatever, everything you watch, everybody who's commenting on it who isn't like G23 said, everybody who's not fear-mongering out there or trying to make a buck on the confusion, will let you know that there's just very, very, very slim chance that they're going to do it. Well, it would be unprecedented for them to do anything to the property we already have. And if there was seriously that much concern about the technology of these things because they're from China, then that would bring into question every telephone that we all use, not to mention the computers that we use. So it really is silly fear-mongering to suggest that these pieces of technology are, somehow nefarious. But anyway, so like for those reasons, I don't really think there's any reason other than financially to buy these or not. In other words, they might go up in value or cost, I guess. I don't know if they're going in value, but they might go up in cost due to scarcity. So for those reasons, there might be some justification to buying one sooner than later. We'll see if they go on sale. I'm going to be curious to see if they go on sale with the potential of them being scarce. I would suspect they might not go on sale for the holidays here, but we'll see. If they do, highly recommend grabbing one, especially if the Neo goes on sale. I can tell you if the Neo goes on sale, I'll buy another one. I almost bought another one anyway because I was messing around with it the other day and I almost squished it. And I was thinking, if I squish this thing, I'm going to want another one immediately. And if I go online and find out that they went up to $500, I'm going to be pissed. So maybe I should just buy it at $200 and be done with it. But then I started going, well, maybe I should buy the 3 battery one again. And then I started thinking, oh, maybe I should blah, blah, blah. And then I started looking at that other one, the Flip. So I haven't decided what I'm going to do. But like I say, if I wouldn't even hesitate to buy the Neo again. All right. So DJ saying, every time you say that company name, my ears twitch. Oh, yeah. And they have kind of a dumb name because like they could have made something where you could just say it. Digin, if they would have put an N at the end or something. But we all have to just say DJI. I think it takes longer to say the 3 letters, in other words. Let's see. So otherwise, let's see what else we're going to talk about. Oh, radios. Studying for the test and stuff, I started thinking, I don't know why they make you study for a bunch of airport stuff. They make you study a bunch of, let's say, landing and takeoff type of stuff, like what do they call those, taxi ways and that kind of thing. I mean, I guess I understand it, but they really make you learn a lot of that. They get you into radio stuff, like if you're listening to the tower, and you have to know frequencies and terminology and the procedures, I guess you could say, that the regular pilots, like a real airplane pilot, I shouldn't say regular pilots, I guess everybody's a pilot, but the people that fly manned aircraft, they're the ones that are on the radios talking to each other or talking to towers if they exist. And not all airports have towers. I would say, actually, I'm not even sure. I'll bet you it's like half the airports don't have towers. Let's find out. Maybe it's way more than that. How many airports do you think have towers? Or I should say, what ratio of the airports do you think have towers? What percent of airports, I'm going to say in USA, have towers? Approximately, oh my goodness. What do you think the percentage is of airports in the United States that have air traffic control towers? I can tell you that 500 to 520 airports have towers. So how many do you think that is? What percentage of the airports in the United States? Anyway, so the test has you really learn a lot about kind of eavesdropping on those conversations. It's less than 50, yes. It is less than 50. Is it surprisingly less than 50, or is it almost 50? That's another way to ask it. Anyway, so because there's all this like attention on the towers or on airports in general, and I don't think you can even, well, I guess we can fly near an airport, but it's not like we're going to an airport to fly. They keep asking questions like, you've been hired to do an aerial survey of this airport. I mean, that must happen. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but most people taking the test are not in that situation. But anyway, they keep asking these questions, and then that made me think, why don't they, we're all pilots, why don't they just let us use the radios? So I don't know why or who decided, FAA, FCC, one of the two of them decided that drones don't need to have the ability to talk on aviation channels. What if there was a thing that said, if you're a drone pilot and a ham, then you can? I don't know if I can. Let's see. Let me ask that question. As a ham tech, can I use the aviation channels? No, a ham radio cannot use the aviation channels for transmission. It is illegal and not practical, as the two services operate under different rules and frequencies. AM and FM, they require separate licenses for transmission. However, ham radio can, with the right equipment, legally listen to airband, of course. And using a ham radio on an aircraft for communication is permissible as long as the pilot is a ham radio operator. And that you don't interfere with critical aircraft systems. That would probably be a good idea. Let's see. So transmission is illegal. Listening is legal. Using ham on aircraft requires approval. If you're on a flight, you can use your ham radio to communicate on authorized ham frequencies if your captain gives approval and you follow the rules. But so AM is aircraft mobile, by the way. Interesting. Anyway, so I guess as see, they should say though, if you're a drone pilot and a ham, well then no, you can use them, because we can't sound like you mean maybe pass a test or something. But as long as you know the procedures or whatever, it's not like it's like different than any other radio. But then you'd be able to do like what they want to say in the questions. One of the sample questions is something like, blah 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 is flying their airplane above an airport, and you're flying your drone. What do you break into the SeaTac channel and say blah blah blah, and then there's like 3 things that you could say. And I'm like, well, you can't say any of them technically because we're not allowed to be on the dang radio. So unless you're a real pilot, like manned aircraft pilot, then you can be on the radio, I guess. But that wasn't part of the question. So anyway, I thought that was all that made me think, why not just let us talk on the radio? Be crazy. Oh, it muted. How long has the audio been out? I just noticed that. Thanks for the feedback there. But I don't know when it cut out there. Maybe when the dog was being noisy. Did you hear all the dog farting? Anyway, so I guess what I was saying is it worth taking the test? Yes. It's worth taking some time to study for something to get it so that you can then not have to worry about what you do with your video or your pictures that you take. Plus, I don't know, might be interesting. It's expensive, $175 to take the test. You have to go through kind of a procedure. I don't know if that's a good thing or not. I guess it's a good thing to have to kind of go through some, what are that, like jump through some hoops every once in a while. And if it's something you do all the time, then I guess maybe there's no point in doing it. But if it's something you don't do on the regular, like me, I don't do that kind of stuff very regularly. It wasn't, it didn't hurt nothing to experience it again. And then, like I say, to study for it and have something, learn some new skill set, all that was good. So highly recommend that aspect of it. If anybody's interested in specific questions about it, maybe which one to buy, what if they should go for the 107 or not. There are some other things. Once you've got a drone, you can, I suppose you could do nothing. I don't think there's any law technically anybody's going to come get you. If you screw up and smash your drone into something or hurt somebody, then you will be under scrutiny and they will go, oh, why didn't you pay attention to the laws? And why didn't you follow through on the things you are responsible to do to be in this situation? So if that makes, if that perks your ears a little bit, then go look into it. You can use the robots. You can use some of the videos that are out there. Or like I say, I'm welcome to ask specific questions anytime we do these live things. And I can address them as much as I can. But for the most part, there's, like I say, some responsibilities that, as anybody flying a thing around in the air, the pilot's license gets you through all of that. Like it's sort of like having a CCW. When you have constitutional carry, what's the point of getting a CCW? Well, the point is learning all the laws and knowing when you can and can't. Same kind of thing. There's actually a surprising number of places I can't fly here in Arizona that I would have never thought about, because mainly the thing is military flights. So they'll have patterns and airspace that they've got reserved, even if they don't use it all the time, where unless you know what to look for and how to look for it because you're tuned into it, you might just fly around in it and not even realize. Now, the consequences of that, again, probably not that big a deal. However, first time you hit an F-16 with your drone, there's going to be some consequences, and they don't care if you know that you're supposed to blah, blah, blah. You're the one who flew a drone into an F-16 or whatever. So, like I said, I don't want to scare nobody. There's not like, airplanes are falling out of the sky because of drones flying around, but there are probably a lot of people getting fines and stuff unnecessarily. So, basically, you want to learn enough about the whole thing. If you're going to get a drone, learn enough about the whole thing to know if you live in an area where you don't have to worry, which is probably a good chunk of the country. However, if you're in a city, it's probably the opposite way. Like I'm in enough of a city here. Most people in a city are probably in a place where, even though it's not an airport, you're not just allowed to go fly your drone around for about 6 different reasons. That being said, maybe in little circles around town, maybe in like a chunk of an area near a base or something, or near a fort, you're not allowed to fly around. Maybe there's a bank or something that has something going on that you don't know about, and that's where being familiar with the, I guess, certification or licensing would let you know what resources you can look into or check out. And again, if it turns out you're in an area that's very complicated, it's probably just worth getting the license so you can understand all that. But then what's neat when you have a license is You then have the, I guess, the ability or the authority, not the authority, but the ability. You have the credentials that you can make a request to fly in restricted airspace. And that's fun because now you can fly near an airport where somebody without a pilot's license would not be able to legally. And if they flew around and they didn't cause trouble, but they got discovered flying around in a place they shouldn't, there could be consequences. With a license and the correct procedure, confused police officer can say, hey, you're way too close to an airport. What's going on? You could say, hey, here's my authorization and my credential. And they can go, oh, thanks. I didn't know you could fly here. See ya. So that part of it's kind of neat. So depending on what you're doing or what you plan to do, that's probably the biggest benefit of the whole thing. And like I say, if you do buy a drone, you do take the due diligence to figure out one of the apps or something that can help you figure out where you can fly. And you figure out, where I live, it's all red, it's all yellow, it's all warning or be aware. That's a different situation than if you buy your drone, you put on that app and it's all green and everything says you can fly wherever you want. Then there's probably a little less interest in, or a little less urgency to bother with the whole thing. Now, if it was cheaper, I'd say go ahead and do it for everybody just to learn all the stuff you can learn. It's a handy skill set. The thing I will say, or the reason I will hesitate though, $175 for just the permit. And because it's a permit, because it's a pilot's license, it's FAA and quite a bit of hurdles. It's not impossible. It's not the most difficult thing for sure. I'm sure of all the pilot's licenses, it's probably the easiest, but it's still getting a pilot's license with the FAA. So there's a bit of a bureaucracy involved in the hurry up and wait and the do it this way or start over. That part of it's annoying. Notch or two more annoying than the CCW. CCWs, in my experience, have had like 3 different states so far. Fill out a form and wait, but unless you fill out a form wrong, it's not too hard. The pilots thing is a whole bunch of steps, and they have to be done correctly and in order. And you have to go through a whole bunch of government instructions, and those can be pretty heinous. I don't know if I'm sure for medical stuff, and if you've been any kind of military or government job, you've seen the bureaucratic 6th grade level stuff that exists, and it can be trying on the patients, right, to go through and do sometimes. But like I say, I don't want to scare anybody away. It's not difficult enough to recommend against for sure. And I think we'd be better off, like I say, with more people aware of drones, using drones. They're an awesome tool. There's lots of different ways you can make money with them, and that could be pretty neat. So in future shows, we'll chat about some of that as I explore different ways to make money with them. And then we'll explore some of the tech. I really like to do some mapping where you basically set the thing up to fly in a pattern above a space. It's going to go up and fly in a pattern and look down. But then as it records that data, software will take a 3-dimensional or create a 3-dimensional image file of the space that the drone will eventually have completed a flyover of. So you get like a crop or a set of buildings or some kind of terrain, and you maybe even vegetation. Like you can do that kind of mapping to help calculate, how much gas or how much water or how much, sunlight, an area is getting based on the vegetation. And there's all kinds of neat ways you can use drones to create data sets like that and then get paid, because there's all kinds of companies that are interested in that data, but they can't afford to have crews out there with their own equipment. So they contract that stuff out, outsource it. And as an independent contractor with the drone cameras, there's a possibility to get in on a lot of that kind of stuff. So we'll be exploring some of that. And then again, there's the technology behind it, just figuring out how to do that. The software that ties it all together, all that seems pretty interesting. We're probably going to be putting together some sort of a control. I'm not sure what to call it, but I'm thinking like a Pelican box with some radios and some support gear, some technical support gear for the drones, and like say being able to pull radio spectrum analysis of an area when you're out flying. That seems like a neat thing to be able to add to the arsenal of tech. And we have all that, so it's just a matter of figuring out how to set it all up and drag it along. In addition, some monitors and some ability to edit and monitor what we're filming. Some of the drones pull data straight to the cards. Some of them, you have to pull it off the drone. You know, like that Neo is fun, but it doesn't have an SD card, so you have to pull the data straight from it. So we'll be putting some kind of a little command center, and that's what I said. A command center that can like dock the different drones and pull their data so it can start editing perhaps while the drone's back up in the air. Of course, charging and batteries and stuff are always a component to these things. All right, well, we're not getting much feedback, so with that, I'd rather do these live than some sort of weird prepared presentation, so stay tuned for more lives. I'm putting out some different polls to find out what time of day. I went a little earlier with this one, but if people want these shows even earlier, let me know. I can rearrange some different things and try to do them even earlier. Now that the times have shifted for us, we're a little bit closer to the East Coast than we were time-wise, and I'll also be putting out some polls to find out what days of the week are best for these. We're doing it on a Wednesday this week because our friend Gizzard is not feeling well, so hopefully he's feeling better, but I stole his time slot. It's not technically quirking because he's not awake, I don't think. It's weird. As soon as we started shutting down, tons of people started showing up, so probably have like 6 times the amount of people than we've had the rest of the evening. If anybody's got any questions about the drones, about the pilot's course, pilot's testing, about the future of dronicity, becoming a dronist, feel free to ask them. Feel free to comment. Otherwise, we'll be dropping out of here or heading out of here to get going on some more business. All right. Well, everybody have a great night, and we'll be back to pick you up later. Oh, I don't have an outro video. What should we use for an outro on this channel? I guess this. Maybe this. I want to use this, but that's for the other channel. So that's 59 seconds of the dog just sitting there. Well, we'll do this. Whoops. We did have the banner going, yeah.
Introducing Gear Websites, your all-in-one solution designed to make life easier. Whether you're a busy professional, a student juggling multiple tasks, or just someone seeking simplicity in daily life, Gear Websites has you covered. With its user-friendly interface, you can effortlessly create and manage your online presence without any technical expertise. Need to improve your gear, start a blog, or even learn a new skill? Gear Websites does it all. Enjoy seamless integration with various tools, ensuring that you can connect with your audience and manage your content efficiently. Plus, our responsive design means your website will look stunning on any device. Don't let complexity slow you down. Experience the ease of Gear Websites today. Visit us at gearwebsites.com and take the first step towards simplifying your online journey. Gear Websites, making life easier, one click at a time.